A great many of the heroes of the Rebel Alliance were at one point considered to be the enemy. Today we'll be talking about 42 individuals who philosophically supported the Galactic Empire at first, but eventually changed their minds and left to defy the Emperor, join the rebellion, and take down the government. Let's start with the most famous, most handsome, and most heroic of them all, Biggs Darklighter. A native of Tatooine and childhood friend of Luke Skywalker, he left his homeworld for the Imperial Academy and was assigned as the first mate aboard the RAND Ecliptic. He helped incite a mutiny and jumped ship to join the Rebel Alliance. He was just in time to take part in the Battle of Yavin, where he gave his life to protect Luke. Han Solo might be considered by some to have been more important to galactic history than Biggs, I guess. He was ambivalent regarding the Empire or galactic politics, but joined the military to escape Corellia. He was kicked out of the Flight Academy within 3 years of service and deserted the infantry shortly after. And if you don't know his story after that, what are you doing watching YouTube? Go watch a Star War. Wedge Antilles was likewise a member of the Imperial Navy, training at the elite Skystrike Academy until Imperial forces massacred the surrendering crew of a rebel transport. He then chose to contact the rebel agent Fulcrum, who sent the crew of the Ghost to extract him. Wedge survived the entire Galactic Civil War, including attacks on 2 separate Death Stars, and continued to serve in the New Republic Navy. Derek "Hobby" KLIVIAN was extracted from Skystrike Academy along with Wedge. He served with the rebellion until the Battle of Hoth, where he was killed. Rake Gary was the final Skystrike pilot that wished to defect with Wedge and Hobby, but he was killed during their first escape attempt. Fulcrum, the agent that assisted in Wedge and Hobby's escape, turned out to be Imperial Security Bureau agent Alexander KALLUS. He was once a staunch believer in the order that the Empire brought to the galaxy, going so far as to participate in nearly wiping out the Lasat people. After a Lasat rebel saved his life, he began to question his beliefs and decided to help the Alliance from the inside. He was eventually discovered by Grand Admiral Thrawn, forcing him to escape and officially join the rebellion. His ultimate fate is currently unknown. ZARE LEONIS was a member of the Imperial Academy on Lothal. He appeared to be a model student, but he was truthfully searching for his sister who had gone missing at the Academy a year earlier. He discovered that she was Force-sensitive and held captive to be brainwashed. With the help of the Ghost crew, he rescued her and his family went into hiding. KELL was a classmate of Zare's, and when he was discovered to be Force-sensitive, Leonis and the Ghost crew arranged for his escape. He joined the Lothal Resistance and helped liberate his homeworld shortly before the Battle of Scarif. At a completely different Imperial Academy, a young girl named Rian Tomvig experienced a change of heart and joined the fight against the Empire. SABINE WREN was a Mandalorian Imperial cadet responsible for designing an arc pulse generator nicknamed the Duchess. That weapon could incinerate anyone wearing Mandalorian armor, and it was indeed used to keep Mandalorian warriors in line. SABINE spoke out against the actions of the Empire and was forced to flee, becoming a bounty hunter for a time before joining the crew of the Ghost. KETSU ONYO was another Mandalorian and classmate of SABINE's. She escaped and became a bounty hunter with her friend, but became greedy and abandoned Ren. Eventually, they repaired their friendship and KETSU began helping the rebels. When SABINE eventually returned to her home, she found that her brother was a member of the Imperial Super Commandos. When his superior ordered the destruction of his entire clan, he sided with his family and fought against the Empire during the Mandalorian Civil War. Tsibo was a Rodian who worked in the Imperial Information Office on Lothal. He was forcibly outfitted with a cyborg construct, giving him a wealth of valuable information. He deserted his post, prompting a manhunt, but was rescued by the crew of the Ghost, who helped him go into hiding. Maketh Tua was the Imperial Minister of Lothal, tasked with overseeing the planet's industries in Governor Price's absence. As the Ghost crew caused more and more trouble on her homeworld, she began to fear for her life and requested asylum from the rebels. Her defection was short-lived thanks to an assassination orchestrated by Darth Vader himself. Jan Dodonna served in the Galactic Republic during the Clone Wars and continued to serve in the Empire, captaining his own Star Destroyer. Over time, he grew disillusioned with the Empire and left to serve as a general in the growing rebellion. He eventually gave his life to allow Mon Mothma and other rebel leaders escape the Empire shortly after the Battle of Yavin. Crix Madine was the leader of an Imperial commando unit and was a highly decorated officer. He defected to the Rebel Alliance for currently unknown reasons, but in Star Wars Legends he felt the missions his commandos were chosen to perform grew increasingly questionable. John Dutch Vander was trained in the Imperial Navy. When he was ordered to bomb his homeworld of Onderon to draw out Saw Gerrera and his partisans, he refused and joined the rebellion. He flew as Gold Leader in the Battle of Yavin, where his Y-Wing was shot down. Iden Versio was the commander of the elite Imperial Special Forces Commando Unit Inferno Squad. After the loss of the second Death Star and the start of Operation Cinder, she refused to take part in attacks on her Imperial homeworld, choosing instead to save lives. Del MEEKO was a fellow member of Inferno Squad who joined Iden. Together they sought out and joined the New Republic, assisting in a battle above Naboo and eventually taking part in the Battle of Jakku. They married and had a daughter named Zay. Although they both died in the early days of the rise of the First Order, Zay lived on to join the Resistance. ADIANA KATON was the pilot of the Corvus, the ship used by Inferno Squad during the Galactic Civil War. When Iden and Del defected, she and her crew joined them. Not long after Inferno Squad's desertion, Ralcius Paldora followed suit. He was an Imperial statistician that traded information about shipping routes, refueling locations, and hidden armaments in exchange for safe passage off Takodana. Thane Kyrell attended the Royal Imperial Academy on Coruscant with his childhood friend Ciena Ree. After his graduation, he personally witnessed the destruction of Alderaan and left the Empire. He was recruited into the rebellion by Wedge Antilles, where he flew in Corona Squadron in the battles of Hoth, Endor, and Jakku. Kindi Idel joined him in Corona Squadron. She was a classmate of Thane's and Ciena's roommate, but she defected with her entire patrol after the Battle of Hoth. Kiti Aleri was a Syrian signals analyst in the Imperial Survey Corps until she deserted. She was part of Operation Yellow Moon, which involved Leia Organa distracting the Empire while the Rebel fleet gathered at Solus to prepare for the assault on the second Death Star. AP-5 was a droid programmed for analysis that was relegated to inventory on an Imperial cargo ship. He grew tired of being mistreated and joined the Rebel Phoenix Cell after befriending their droid, Chopper. K2SO was another, more famous droid defector. Originally an Imperial KX security droid, he was reprogrammed by Cassian Andor to serve the Alliance. He grew fond of Cassian and sacrificed his life to keep the man safe during the Battle of Scarif. He was instrumental in the theft of the Death Star plans. BODHI Rook was also a key player in the Battle of Scarif and the destruction of the first Death Star. Rook was a cargo pilot for the Empire who was told about the planet-killing battle station. Once he learned the truth, he devoted himself to taking it down, giving his life in the process. And Galen Erso was the Imperial scientist that instigated it all. When he learned the truth about the Death Star, he hid from the Empire. When he was captured, he feigned cooperation, building a flaw into the battle station and giving the details to BODHI. It's absurd that there are no pictures of him, but SINJIR RATH VELUS was an Imperial loyalty officer, which basically meant he was an expert in torturing suspected rebel sympathizers. After the Emperor's death, he fled Endor and spent the following months hiding and drinking until he inadvertently began helping a small rebel force fight against the Imperial remnant. His help became genuine, and after months of hunting and capturing his former allies, he became an advisor to Mon Mothma, and he assisted in peace talks between the New Republic and Mas Amedda. EVERI CHALIS was an artist whose work caught the eye of Imperial Count Vidian. She became his apprentice, and after his death became the governor of Hadoral Prime in the Mid-Rim. When war came to her planet, she feared the consequences of her superiors and surrendered to the rebel Twilight Company. She helped them for a time, but eventually escaped the clutches of both the rebellion and the Empire, determined to start a new life for herself. Jinra was similar to Chalice in that she defected to further her own gains. She designed a new state-of-the-art deflector shield for the Empire, but instead sold the plans to finance her freedom as seen in the book Most Wanted. TREY KALLUM was a sergeant major that was present for the Battle of Hoth. Little is known about his past except that he was once an Imperial officer. Before joining the rebellion, Jake Farrell was a flight instructor for the Empire. He flew as Gold 4 during the Battle of Endor, flying into the superstructure and flying back out to lead TIE fighters away from Gold and Red leaders. Rhea Klar was a member of the Imperial Mining Institute on Lothal, who began doubting the Empire after seeing the conditions of Resettlement Camp 43, which was nicknamed Tarkin Town. She defected after seeing Ezra Bridger's transmission and left Lothal with the help of Lando Calrissian and Sakatro Vizago. Braylen Stram started his military career in an Imperial station located on Naboo. He deserted his post to become the deputy wing leader of Blade Squadron, the B-Wing squadron that fought in the Battle of Endor. Heron Calhu was a stormtrooper that served in the Anowit sector of the galaxy. He deserted after witnessing some unknown atrocity, and after the Battle of Endor he helped liberate the planets he once oppressed. Captain Fatulane similarly left the Empire to help free the Anowit sector. Both characters could be seen in the mobile game Star Wars Uprising. Another character named Jaedra more reluctantly defected, worried that she was doomed no matter what side of the war she fought on. Strolka was an Advos colonel that served in the Republic military during the Clone Wars. His rank allowed him favorable opportunities from the Empire, but he turned away from their service and was another figure in the liberation of the Anowit sector. One final unpictured character from Star Wars Uprising was Hilat Temple, a former Imperial pilot. Caladona Vins was an Imperial governor who turned on her allies during the brokering of peace between the Empire and the New Republic. She handed over large amounts of information to prove her allegiance. She was mentioned in the in-universe book Star Wars Propaganda. An unnamed Imperial trooper decided to join the Rebel Alliance after witnessing Leia Organa's torture aboard the first Death Star. It's unknown if he was able to escape the station's destruction. And finally, as a bonus, we come to Becky Smoochenbacher of the LEGO Star Wars Freemaker Adventures. I wouldn't consider her a canon character, but she was an Imperial gunner on the second Death Star. She defected so she could rescue the Freemaker family, specifically the love of her life, Xander Freemaker, in the middle of the Battle of Endor. They all escaped and I assume lived happily ever after. So there you have it. 42 canon characters that defected from the Galactic Empire, and one character that probably isn't canon, but oh well, I included her, sue me. If there's enough interest, I might cover all the Legends Imperial Defectors in another video, but that's it for today. If you like this comprehensive style video, check out this playlist for more. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.